Can it just be us tonight? Under the night sky, gonna make my skin rise. Can it just be us tonight? Do you believe in magic? Comes from the inside. Do you believe in magic? Do you believe in magic? Comes from the inside. Do you believe in magic? Do you believe in magic? Comes from the inside. Do you believe in magic? 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 Comes from the inside. Do you believe in magic? Comes from the inside. If you're in the dark, secrets I keep. Let the world just fade away. You're all I need. Can it just be us tonight? No one can see. Give you
All right, what is up, everybody? It's Joe from JLW Games coming at you with another cool video. We're back in Windland Adventure Resort here in episode 4, and we're going to be working a lot more on the resort, obviously, and of course we're going to be working on the resort pool and creating a pool for it, and also just in general working on the parking lot and details for the parking lot. So I feel like we got a lot done in this episode. So we're gonna have to at some point get into the park, right? I know you guys are eagerly awaiting for that, but trust me, after this episode, we're gonna be a lot closer to that than ever before, because we're going to be doing a lot of the parking lot, and I would say a majority of the parking lot is going to be done after the end of this episode. So like, we still have to create our other resort hotel, which will not take as long as this one, trust me. So yeah, so we have, I mainly wanted to focus a lot at the beginning to start off on the pool. It was a lot of building and deleting, because I could not get the shape I wanted at first, and really couldn't find a shape that I wanted at first. And I kind of had the idea to start out with just outlining and creating a huge, just a giant plaza, and I started using a combination of the draw tool, and I mostly usually fill it in with the stamp tool and just rotate it where I need to, since it's so much easier, you just fill it in like that. It would be cool if we had like a fill button that just fills it in the middle. I don't know if that'd be possible, but not really needed. It would just maybe save some time if we're making like huge plazas, maybe potentially. But and then I just had so many issues trying to get this pool kind of going, and it took me a long time to get it the way I wanted. But thankfully, that's what time lapses are for, so you guys can get through this a lot quicker than I did. I think it took 3 tries. I think I went through 3 different designs until I got something that I liked. And I was messing a lot with the depths, so that was the first one, and then that one messed up because the terrain was not flattened. There was a couple spots that were just slightly off, which threw off everything. So when it came to like the depths, it messes with the depths a lot too, which kind of sucks. But then the second attempt, I was like, I'm gonna start by trying to create the pool first, and then we'll do the walkway, which also didn't work very well, and I forgot to turn off the jets, so I had to delete all those jets, and just trying to get like some sort of interesting shape going along with this pool. It didn't really work out at the beginning, and I think I was pretty happy by the end of it, but again, it was a lot of trial and error in this video, just getting it right. So I think I was overcomplicating it and just trying to do too much and trying to make it look too good, and in doing that, I kind of made it look really, really bad. So yeah, it just wasn't working for me, and after taking too much time trying to make something right, I decided to just kind of give up on it and say, you know what, let's cut my losses, let's start over. It'd be a lot easier and quicker to probably start over and try something different, But yeah, it just wasn't working for me, and I was trying to make it work really hard these first few times and not trying to give up on it, but I was like, it will look better if I just kind of mess around with it and move some stuff around and maybe get in there. And then I was just like, nope, not liking how this is looking. So the final attempt ended up being the best way possible, and I did the most simplest way possible, and that ended up being the best way, honestly. So I did the same thing, I think, with, you'll see here after we kind of restart again, and that was to basically do all the pathing first and then build the pool with the draw tool. And that was basically the best way to do it, because I wanted to do kind of like some nice round curves, and we finally got something a little bit nice, in the end here. So I kind of just did like this weird, like, little openings, and then kind of like a little passageway to that opening, and this ended up being the final result of the pool, and just filling it in, and then of course putting in the pool using the draw tool, and then just making like small adjustments afterwards. Ended up being the best way possible, and I actually think this turned out the best way, best it possibly could, doing this. So really, really nice. I was kind of surprised. I did start to try and use the line tool at first, and then I was like, nope, I'm just going to use the draw tool to get the shapes that I want, and then we'll adjust it afterwards, I had to do little sections at a time, though, because obviously you're limited on how much of the draw tool you can use. You can't make it too big. I tried to do my best, to try and make a nice, smooth transition for like the pool depths, and I decided to just kind of can that and just kind of make a nice looking pool overall, instead of trying to go too far into how the depths are, so it just kind of evolved into me just using a draw tool with the set depth that I wanted, which was swimming, and then in the end I just for the more shallow part, I just kind of made like a general like entrance to the pool by making a shallow section, by just raising it up, grabbing it, raising it up, which isn't the most smooth that I could have done, and it makes some really jagged, weird edges. I wish it would smooth it out a little bit better between, or transitioning between depths, but we're just gonna roll with it, because that's about the best we can do for right now. And I just wanted to, I like the shape of the pool the way it was, and I was like, you know what, I don't want to go in and overcomplicate things. We're not gonna do that. We're just going to get all our chairs in, and our lounge chairs in, and go from there. So that's ended up where we were here, and I think it turned out pretty decent, And then obviously we do, we actually, I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but we do get a little pool bar in there as well, like a little poolside bar, which is pretty cool, which we'll get into in a little bit. And then, of course, I wanted to make a little bit of a path that leads out to the pool. And, of course, to make it functional, we made sure that we had an info booth and a changing room available to the guests as well. So, very, very important. And then we start to make a lot of parking spaces for the hotel, and just the parking lot in general, because we get a lot of the parking lot done today. So just so you know, like we get a lot done. So we're getting, I'm pretty happy, because we get this little lot right here and a little bit of a lot next to it as well, next to the hotel. That way you can kind of see that that's the hotel parking. We also got the parking garage right next door, which also provides quite a bit of parking for the hotel. And then the rest of this parking way over here is going to be all just like general parking as well. So really, really nice seeing all those parking spaces and getting all those in there, because it feels like we have a lot of parking done when we get finished here. So very, very nice to see all of that put together, and you'll just see by the end we have a lot coming in. We do have a real-time section at the end as well coming in, so don't miss that as well. But yeah, looking really, really, really nice thus far with everything we've done. I am happy to say that we are getting fairly closer to getting inside the park now, because we do actually get a lot of parking lot details done, and a lot of parking lot done just in general. So very, very excited about that. And of course, I need to make sure I blended in some of the stations of the buses here. And the first one here is over by the Adventure Resort, so I had to blend that in and make sure that station looks like just a normal, pickup location, rather than, kind of an actual station with a ride operator and everything, because that doesn't really make sense. But, that's how the transport rides still kind of work in the game. So we're gonna have to work around it just a little bit. So we do get to the bus stops, which will drop everyone off at like the City Walk area. So our City Walk again is going to be very, very small. Nothing going to be too big right there because I want to leave mostly enough. Most of the space I want to make sure is enough for the parks themselves. So like the water park's gonna be pretty narrow, but it's gonna be long, and then the main park. That way we have enough room for the main park itself when we get around to that. I think in the next episode or so, we might actually start on the second resort, which I don't think will take as long as the first one. It has a more basic shape to it, and it will be a lot easier, I think, to kind of build up, and it won't have like a rooftop bar or anything like that. It is going to have like a little small pool. So we do get into the pool here in a little bit on this for the resort. I did mess around with a lot of stuff and a lot of trial and error you'll see. Why can't I say that? Trial and error that you'll see throughout this episode. So there was a lot of that, but I still feel at the end of the day we did get a lot done in this episode in total. So yeah, so I'm still kicking and still trying to get episodes out to you guys weekly. I'm doing my best to try and keep up to that schedule and trying to pace myself when it comes to doing this. I usually record about roughly an hour to an hour and a half at a time. So there are times where I record even longer, but and I record those about in different days of the week. So again, I give myself a week to get these episodes out to you guys, and I just been trying to pace myself out a little bit with all that. So this station for the bus is a little bit easier than the one at the bus stop, because the bus stop we can't have like all the scenery to cover it up all that much because there is a road right next to it. So we'll get into that later, but this one was a lot easier to kind of cover up overall, and it turned out pretty cool. I was pretty happy with that. And we end up actually covering up the ride operator's booth because I don't want that to be in there. So we do cover that up afterwards, and yeah, so we get a lot of the curbs kind of going in and getting all of these pathways done, and doing a sidewalk as well because I want to make sure that there would be a way to walk to the park as well rather than just take the bus only. So I'm going to try and do my best to try and make it to where guests will walk into the park from the hotels and stuff as well. So I do need to try and get a sidewalk built that will connect to this one, hopefully from the hotel. I'm still trying to figure out where exactly I'm going to put that because we don't really have a lot of space with what I've done. I did find one route that might work, but we'll have to wait and see. I might have to edit the parking lot just a little bit, but that's all right. Just some, again, trial and error. It's trial and error. We'll get it done. But yeah, for the most part, the Adventure Hotel is almost pretty much done. There's at the end of it, anyways, it's almost pretty much done. And you just gotta make sure we gotta finish that rooftop bar up, which I have been neglecting. I have not gotten it done yet, and hopefully in the next episode we will focus on that for a minute and get that kind of situated. Of course, we have the pool, which is for the most part done. I mean, we got the shape, and we also do a little bit of a nice little bar area as well, which would be kind of cool. You can go over there, get some drinks, and maybe a little bit of food as well. I did put a lot of empty stalls in there, or like the blank stalls. So we made that into reality. We'll get into that once we get over there. But a lot of the start here is get this little the parking lot here done. We do a lot of parking lot in this episode, so a lot of the main parking lot for the park itself. And this park will share with the resorts as well. The resorts will use these parking lots as well. So this is the main lot, I would say, for this hotel. And then the rest of it, and after we get past this, will probably be mainly for the park itself. Because again, we do have a parking garage as well, which also serves as some parking spots as well. So I feel like we have quite a bit of parking in a smaller amount of space, which actually works pretty well for us, I think, in the end. So because I don't want to overdo the parking lot overall when it comes to space. I want to make sure it's minimal and not taking up as much space because, again, we're going to try and do our best to cram a total of 3 parks in the end. We're going to have like 3 parks in this whole entire build. So that's what we got to make sure that we have enough space for that, but also being able to put in these resorts as well. So we have a lot to do. We have a lot to accomplish in a small amount of space. So yeah, we do have the February 13th update coming out, so we got to keep an eye on that as well, because that will also give us some new features that I do want to implement a lot of in this game, in this build. So very, very excited for that, because we are getting closer to finishing up the parking lot area. So I don't know exactly how many more episodes it will be, but we're working on getting all these this parking lot space kind of finished up and getting them in more completed state. So yeah, we're gonna cover up this little this little operator's booth, because like it's a bus. It's not. I'm not acting as if it's a little ride in the park. You know, you don't need a operator's booth for a transport ride, in my opinion. You know, it just doesn't really make sense. Maybe certain rides, but not like this one. You know, you know, it's a bus. You know, not a not a steam. It's not like a, you know, a car ride that goes around, that like an antique car ride. You know, it's you know, even those I don't even think really have operator's booth. They might, maybe they do. I'm not sure. But anyways, I am putting a lot of these curbs down just to kind of separate the sidewalk from the road, to kind of give us that separation a little bit, you know, while you're on the sidewalk. So you also have the road as well. So turns out pretty good. It's a little bit of a tedious process to get all this done, but in the end, I think it actually does work, and it is worth it in the end, because just I think it looks a lot better than obviously just not having that transition in there. You know, having a custom transition just makes it look better. You know, the one good tip I have about building in Planet Coaster is, like, the furthest you can get it away from looking like Planet Coaster, the better. So if it doesn't look like it's from Planet Coaster and you fool people, you know, thinking it's a real photo, the way you're going to do that is make stuff look like it's not a part of the game. So like custom curbs, you know, make your textures unique and colors unique, not using the standard color that they start on, you know, stuff like that, you know, and just using stuff that they're not intended for as well. Like that thing I'm using for these curbs are a roof trim, so little things like that, you know. So yeah, we have a little detail still to do here and there for the hotel itself, for the Adventure Hotel. So I did get a little bit into that, adding some more windows here at the bottom floor, the little lobby floor. So because the idea is that the lobby and everything will be on that first floor, and then the rest will be all the rooms above it. I really like how this hotel turned out. I think it looks great, and I can't wait to get into the next one, because the next one's going to be more kind of like a tropical theme. You know, kind of, I think I'm going to model it a little bit off of Cabana Bay at Universal, of course. Again, this is going to be Universal style park, or Universal inspired park, so obviously we need to make sure that we're using our inspiration from those parks as well. So our hotels are going to be very, very similar to those, and that's kind of where the inspiration comes from. So I've been really excited. I've been having a lot of fun creating like hotels and stuff in the game, and hopefully at some point we will get functional hotels in the game at some point, since Planet Coaster 1 had hotels. But even though I'm not as big on that, I don't think that feature is not as big of a deal to me as some people it is. For me, it's not that huge of a deal, because we have don't have to worry about it too much. But yeah, so anyways, this pool, it had a lot of trial and error. It took a little bit of time to get it right, but you know, I had a lot of time where it just wasn't looking good, and it took me some time to get it exact kind of where I wanted it. So once I got it, the shaping and everything, you know, it was pretty easy going after that. And then of course we wanted to add this little bar here, which turned out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with how the bar, this little poolside bar turned out. It took a little bit of time to get that going too as well. I was trying to get myself some reference photos and couldn't find a lot that I really liked, so I found one that was kind of somewhat close to what I was going for. So it's nothing like a huge building or anything, you know, just and one thing I was kind of concerned about was like, how's the interior gonna look, because I am using like the invisible, or kind of like the empty bar pieces as well, something I don't use very often. So but they turned out pretty okay. I was pretty happy with how those turned out. I couldn't get them to snap into the building for some reason. I don't know if that's a thing. I think I don't know if they're just completely freeform or what, or if it was just a glitch I was running into or not, but I just kind of lined them up and ended up being fine. So But yeah, I added a lot of different drink stalls and a couple of food stalls as well. I think I did, yeah, I did a Viva La Vegan and then also a pizza bin as well. That way we have a couple of options for food for the guests as well, because this is all going to be functional as well. So I want to make sure all the guests are happy. So obviously you want to make sure you have the vegan foods for those types of guests that want that, and then you have to have you can have all the junk food for the ones that want that as well. So I did all of those and made sure those are in there. I did use a Frontier Workshop item for these little bar pieces here, and kind of edited it a little bit to match the aesthetic as well. So a little bit of my touch on there as well, but very, very good little Frontier Workshop item. Can never remember the names of who they were from, so if you're out there, let me know, and make sure you get your voice heard and everything like that. I don't think I had like a ton of downloads. I was actually scouring the Frontier Workshop to find one, so that I was actually kind of liked, but it turned out pretty good, and this bar was pretty nice. I wanted to make sure it had like that round feel, and don't have any bar stools yet. I kind of want to add maybe some somewhere around here, but I can't exactly figure out exactly where I want it. So, because I don't want to put them in front of the booths, because guests are obviously going to order stuff through there, and don't want them to clip it through those bar stools. I think it'd be kind of weird. But anyways, used like a little bit of a thatch roof here to kind of give that little nice little tropical feel to this little tiki bar, kind of like a little tiki bar, which turned out pretty cool. I haven't used a lot of the thatch roofs before, so I just kind of messed around until I got something that covered it up and also still kind of looked somewhat nice. So ended up working out in the end pretty well. And then of course we added a few more of these chairs around, make sure they're around the pools, and I wanted to make sure that this pool wasn't taking up too much space. It is a little bit on the larger side, but I wanted to make sure that there was enough that wasn't too much there, And then of course we add a little bit of coverage, and we'll go through and do some more details later on, but that's kind of how this whole thing kind of came about. So I think this pool turned out pretty good. It was a lot of trial and error again, but I ended up getting the shape that I liked, and that's gonna be the thing with this park, is I'm gonna keep going until I'm happy with how something looks. If I don't like how it looks, I will change it. So everything you see is subject to change at some point if I feel that it needs to be changed. I'm not pretty if I'm not happy with it, So but yeah, with the new update coming up, we'll be able to do interchangeable coaster trains, and also be able to do custom media, which is, I feel, very vital for this park, and I'm very excited to get those in there. I've also been messing around with some mods again as well. I know some people don't like it when I use mods, because sometimes it messes up when you use the Frontier Workshop, but honestly, I just want to make the park as best as I can, and sometimes mods make it a lot easier. So I do have a no track limits mod. It is in kind of like a beta stage. It's not like a final and hasn't been fully released yet. So it's kind of in its testing stages. So, and that no limits mod allows us to do like shorter track pieces, such like that, which does work. I haven't tested it yet, so this is something that you might let me know in the comment section. I think I did use shorter pieces. I'm not entirely sure if I did. I know I had the mod enabled at this point when working on this. Because I know with the tracked rides, you get your pieces are always so short or super long, and you can't make them short like you would want to. So I did shorten up to get make some of those tighter turns on the roads. So let me know in the comment section if you had any issues downloading or when you updated the park file, if it messed it up or not. I'm not sure. I know the mod that I am using allows a tilt track and drop tracks, and also the switch tracks on any of the coaster types. So I think that crashes the game. If I had those in there and you don't have the mod, I think it would crash the game. But I'm not sure about using like shorter track pieces because it worked in Planet Coaster 1 just fine. But I think what's crashing the game probably is having those like switch tracks on the coasters that it wouldn't make sense on. Like, I know in Planet Coaster 1 with this type of mod, it worked as long as, you could at least the track pieces worked. If you use shorter track pieces and stuff, it didn't crash the game, but it just wouldn't allow the player to obviously make short track pieces, because if they deleted it, they just wouldn't be able to redo it again. That's kind of how I was hoping that this would work. And again, this is kind of in a beta phase for the mod that I am using, so hopefully, fingers crossed, that it doesn't cause any issues, because it is a very helpful mod. And I do obviously encourage you guys to check out a few of mods, like not a ton of mods. I'm not a huge mod guy myself, but sometimes these Planet Coaster mods just make life so much easier. Like the scaling mod. The scaling mod is on Nexus Mods. I really super highly, that's like the best mod that is currently in a finished state right now that I highly recommend, because you can go all the way down to 10%. And all the way up to 600% on any of those scalable items, any pieces. So it really helps, and I've used it a few times in some of my workshop items, and it doesn't work if you don't have the mod. Like, if you don't have the mod, it doesn't crash the game, but like it will make the pieces as close to as possible. So if you have something that's can't go further than 50% and you have it down to 10%, it will put it at 50%. So you can't really do that, but thankfully it doesn't crash the game. But yeah, I highly encourage you guys to check out some of those mods. I don't know why, I really wonder why Frontier decided not to allow that scaling to that degree on a lot of their pieces. You know, it doesn't really make too much sense to me why they wouldn't allow that, because it doesn't really break the game, and it's a lot nicer to have, you know, to be able to go down to 10% or making stuff even bigger. You know, I find it more useful to make stuff even smaller, because having smaller pieces in the game is the toughest part. Is we don't have a lot of small pieces in the game. So when you scale them down as small as they can, sometimes just allowing us to go even smaller, and, you know, makes a big difference. You know, so again, highly recommend try and get everyone to get those mods. They're super easy to install, so it's not even hard to get into the game. It's very quick and very easy. So anyways, yeah, so the parking lot's turned out great, right? We're just filling in a lot of gaps and details, so not a whole lot to really talk about during this time lapse right now, just because there's just not a whole lot going on. And I understand that probably a little boring, but I appreciate you guys if you do watch through the entire video. It really does help me out support wise. So even if you don't watch the entire video in its entirety, having it play in the background, you know, just stuff like that really does help me. If you guys want to support me even further, you know, sometimes that's very, very helpful. Because the watch time really does make a difference, and with the YouTube algorithm and stuff. So watch time is one of the most important things, like the retention time. And hopefully most of you guys, I know a lot of you guys probably do skip through the video, which is understandable, and to see where we're at towards the end. But I am going to start doing, like we did in the last episode, real-time sections at the end, so we can kind of go over everything that we've kind of did in real time, so you guys can see what everything looks like in real time and all that fun stuff, because it gives you kind of an overview of what the finished product looks like at the end of the episode. So in this particular episode, we actually do a little bit more work in the real time, so a little bit of treat there for you. And hopefully in episode 5, hopefully we will start getting work on into the next actual thing, the next hotel, because we do have a Cabana Bay style hotel that we're going to put up, and it's going to be up on that cliff though, so it's going to have a really cool view, and I think it would be really nice to be right next, connected to the water park, and it'll be really, really nice. So I think that's where we're going to start at in the next episode, get that done, and then we'll be about ready to start our little city walk, which might be about an episode or so. I feel like we can get city walk done fairly quickly. I don't think it'll take too long, because it's not going to be very big, and we need to come up with a different name so Universal doesn't sue us. So we gotta call it something else. You know, we got city walk. We gotta call it something else. So if you guys have any any opinions on that, or ideas on what to call that, that'd be truly appreciate it. You know, always looking for help to name stuff and everything like that. So very, very helpful. And overall, I'd love to get that little bit of help, every bit of help that I can. You know, when I don't know what to do. So or call something. But yeah, I figured I needed to start doing a little bit of line work on the roads, because we hadn't worked on it in a while. So get some of those lines going. So we have some lines ended up getting in there, and because we do have to get it all the way around and get them all done as well, it's going to take some time, and I do need to do some curbs as well. So going to take some time to get all those done, and yeah, so hopefully we'll get into the park. We're going to get into the park a lot sooner than I think we are. You know, I was a little worried that it was going to take a little longer, but we'll see how long this next hotel takes. I'm hoping to maybe get the hotel like pretty much done in this next episode. I don't think it'll be as bad though, because it's not going to be as detailed and crazy shaped as that one. It's going to be pretty rectangular and everything, so I don't think we have to worry about that. I did go ahead and finish up the route for this bus, so we do have a functioning route that goes all the way around. Again, we do have to work around building a station around the drop-off area, which is, to me, kind of like the biggest challenge, is trying to figure out what to do with that. I'm still not satisfied, so it doesn't look pretty by the end of this, so just keep that in mind that it's not final, and I'm not gonna be satisfied until it looks a certain way. So until I'm satisfied with how it looks. So just keep that in mind that I'm not gonna go in and, you know, be satisfied with it if I'm not happy, or if it doesn't look great, you know. So I think yeah. So this is gonna be our bus drop off, which will drop you off right at the City Walk section, the City Walk area. So keep an eye out on how that's going to look. I'm pretty excited for that, because that means we're that much closer to getting inside the park. So pretty awesome to see that where we've come already within just a few weeks of you know, making it, you know, building this, trying to get a lot of progress done by obviously releasing these episodes weekly, so that way I can try and keep on that routine. This is going to be the main focus of the channel, obviously, so I'm not really probably going to be working on much more while I'm working on this park, so that way we can actually get this park more so completed and a lot better state than what it was before. So yeah, it's just a thing that paths do not want to build on the stations really well, so like it literally will not put a path over it. Even if you like raise it a little bit, you have to raise it so high up for it to not create emptiness there. Like, it's just the collisions, man. I wish they would get rid of some of the collisions. I get kind of why the paths wouldn't want to you can't collide with them, like, but you're able to put them over track pieces, so it's kind of weird, you know. Like, you can do that, but when it comes to stations, it won't let you, you know. It's kind of a weird thing, especially with the pathing. That's kind of like the one thing with the pathing I wish they did get rid of, like the terrain. A lot of the terrain collision stuff, which is great. So it's obviously way better than Planet Coaster 1, and not even close, you know. It's less than the pain than Planet Coaster 1, but there's still a few things here and there that sometimes make it a little bit harder, you know. So I kind of messed with this at the end for a lot longer than I should have, and yeah, so, and in the real-time section, we actually mess with it a little bit more, so that's something that you'll see where we end up. But again, I think I'm going to change it in the end once in the next episode a little bit, until we get something that kind of works. If you have any suggestions on how to like cover up these stations to make them look a little bit natural with the pathing, and you know, if you're trying to do something like I am, with just kind of make a bus stop here, you know, for the guests to get on and off of the bus, you know, as an actual transport ride that's actually functional, you know. I kind of wish I had a better idea on how to do that, you know. I haven't really done it that much yet. Again, we did the one by the hotel pretty well, but this one's a little bit different. For some reason, it just isn't working as well, you know. So we'll just have to go in and mess around with it more, and I'm sure we'll get in and get that figured out sooner rather than later overall. And pretty sure that you know, there'll be a fix for everything. But yeah, if you guys have any suggestions, I would love to hear them for sure. So we're almost about done here with the time-lapse section, and then we'll get into the real time. So if you want to see the real time here, we're about to get into that. And yeah, we do a little bit real-time building as well, and kind of mess with this station as well. So you'll see that here in a little bit. And yeah, so I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode as much as I have, because it just means we're that much closer, you know, that much closer to getting to the fun stuff. And I know you guys are very much excited for that. So anyways, we're gonna get into the real-time section, and I hope you guys have enjoyed the time lapse, and we will see you very, very soon. So take it away, other Joe, here in just a few seconds. So yeah, that's the time lapse. Bye bye. All right, guys, so we have a lot more done with this episode, and we're inching closer and closer to getting this parking lot section done. I know you guys are probably very eager and very excited to get into the parks. Trust me, I don't think we have too much longer, to be quite perfectly honest. I think the part that takes the longest is actually the resorts themselves. Parking lot, honestly, doesn't take too long. Like, it's just a lot of just copy and pasting our little lines here and everything like that, getting our route for our buses and cars and everything like that, so, and make sure that they can actually function properly. But as you can see, we do have functioning buses that are operating around here. We're gonna have multiple tracks. Obviously this one will be attached to the Adventure Hotel, and these ones are going to be dropping off from there and using the highway. So we have a few different routes that we'll be going through, and then of course we'll have multiple on there. I'll probably make the intervals between these a lot bigger, so they're not just all back to back to back. And then of course when we get the update, I am going to test it pretty early, but hopefully we'll be able to attach some screens on here onto these, and I'll be able to kind of customize these buses. I'm going to change the color at least for sure, but I'm waiting until we get the update on the 13th, because the 13th will get custom media, and I want to put in like our logos and stuff onto these buses so they're kind of branded. And I'm actually going to do this kind of the same thing with these buses. Are going to look slightly different. They're going to be attached to the Adventure Hotel, so they're going to have like Adventure Hotel stuff going on for them. I think our next episode, episode 5, is scheduled to release on the day of the update, so it probably won't be until episode 6 on that. So because I'll be recording the next episode before that update comes out. So, but it'll be coming out during that update. So that'll be pretty cool. I think we got pretty much our layout of our road pretty much done for the entrance and exits. So it isn't going to be a ton of parking, but it isn't like I wanted to have enough. And you can see we're really not using that much of the world, except for this corner. This corner is going to be the most populated with the parking and stuff like that. Now, I did see this big open space, and I wasn't anticipating to have a space this big, but this is going to be our bus drop-off area. So as you did see in the time lapse, we did try and create a station here, so the buses will drop off here. I'm going to have to make multiple ones of these, so this is going to be interesting. The path does not like these little edges. You can go over the tracks in the station, but it does not like these little edges here, and it will not build a path over them like whatsoever. Like, you can go in here and put in the stamp builder, and like you have to go, like, it just doesn't work. Like, it just will not build anything right here. Even if you build it fairly tall, like, you have to be really high up for it not to actually cut into that. So I had to make some like false stuff. So we made a false kind of path. It does kind of stick out. I might test and try and see if I can find some better ways to get this to work, but the stations really kind of suck, because like it just kind of makes it really hard to cover up with the pathing and everything like that. So I don't think we really have a terrain paint that would actually work, because I could pull terrain over it and paint it, but I don't really think we have a terrain, like we don't have a concrete terrain, because that would change a lot if we had that, because then I can pull the terrain, terrain over it, because I'm pretty sure we can pull terrain up over it. It just wouldn't have to, it would have to be far away from the path. It's just kind of a difficult situation, but for now we're just going to kind of do our best. I think we're just going to cover it up. I think actually this is like real time. I want to try and test something here, so let's go ahead and see if this will work. Let's go ahead and just do this. Let me get rid of these. I don't really want to have the path selected. Actually, it doesn't really matter if the path's selected. It's not gonna put that in the building. So what we're gonna do here is actually, we're gonna select this and we're gonna confirm selection. We're going to, it doesn't actually let us, we'll only save it as a blueprint. Ah, that sucks. All right, so what I was gonna try and do is select all of these and make it a building so I can move them on and off, but it's being a little bit of a pain in the butt here, so try our best here to... I have an idea here, and I don't know why I didn't think of it beforehand. I feel kind of dumb now, actually. So what we're gonna do... This is not working. It does not want to select that. I should have made it a building to begin with, so... Basically, I want to get rid... I think I'm going to get rid of... So what we're going to do is get rid of the pathing here. Sidewalk. So get rid of all that. Let's go ahead and get rid of the sidewalk for a sec too. Yeah, it'll just make it easier overall. Actually, before we do that, let's delete this. So this is like real time of me figuring stuff out. So I just realized, like, I feel like it would be a lot easier to instead just like have no path there and just cover it up with this, and that way it stays flat. I just for some reason thought of that, and I'm sure some of you may have been yelling at your screens like, why don't you just do that, you know? And I just like actually thought about that. So we made this a senior group, so I don't want to completely delete that. So what I'm thinking here is we take this, and I think I've done this in the past, so I don't know why I haven't done this. I didn't do this beforehand. It just makes more sense. So basically just take this, lower this in here, cover that up enough, cover up the station like that, and then just connect the pathing with it. I think that would be just so much easier. And get the pathing as close as we can to connect with it. It's supposed to be 8. Anyways, let's go ahead and delete a little bit further so we can kind of line this up. Line some stuff up here. Of course, it's on the wrong wrong thing. Always have the wrong texture selected every single time. Basically, do something like that. I think it would be just a lot simpler overall. But getting this like lined up is the fun part, right? So we gotta. Oh, that's not gonna work. I'm gonna have to go from this direction. Those curves don't really work. Let's just go with the straight ones. Just need to adjust it just enough. Honestly, it is a lot better. There we go. I know we'll have a little bit of that, and the only crappy part is you do get those curbs at the ends. Hopefully we get to the point where we can actually delete curbs in the future. That's something I'm actually really hoping for, is that we can delete curbs later on. I know that was kind of a big complaint that a lot of players do have right now, is that you can't get rid of the curbs right now, which is kind of obnoxious. Like, I can't get rid of those curbs. Like, that's just, it's not a thing, you know? It's just kind of, you have to live with them. Especially if I do something like this, it makes it hard to blend this together overall, and that's kind of the idea of it. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and delete that over there, and that is going to be how that ends. So yeah, that is kind of where we're at for that. Going into everything else, I think mostly it was detail work. Let's go ahead and head to the pool area a little bit here. So I did make, obviously, a pool. This isn't like completely final. I still probably will add a little bit more to this pool, hopefully. And then I made this little bar, which you guys probably saw in the time lapse. I took some time. I did use a workshop item for these awesome little drink pieces there, or the little dispensers there. That really cool. And we made a nice little rounded bar for this area. I think it'll be really cool. I do want to put some bar stools maybe somewhere potentially, but I'm not entirely sure yet. But yeah, we did kind of mess with this for quite some time on that, but that's all right. And of course, we got our roads, and everything will come together pretty well, I think, in the end. But we just have to make sure that everything just kind of makes sense, which can sometimes be the hardest thing. Let's go ahead and make sure these are connected with that way we know that it is functional and guests can use it. That's going to be kind of the little challenge there. And of course, we have little things like this that make it very difficult sometimes. We want to do that. We want to do more of so that. You can see that this is kind of slipping through, and we can do touch-ups and everything in the end, hopefully, but you're only going to be able to do so much sometimes, and I'm doing my best to kind of shield this up and try and cover everything up to make it as best as possible. The best idea I can think of is to actually click on this, and we can scenery group, and the best we can probably do is try and blend this with the road as best as we can, and that's gonna be kind of like doing something like this, like a little gradual, kind of like what we did before, but at this point we're just trying to not have the road there. That's kind of like the goal here, it's just to not have the road there, but we can do something like that. But until I figure out something better, that's kind of like what we're gonna do, and we're gonna try and decorate that up to blend it in as best as possible. So that's going to do it for this episode, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this entire experience with these time lapses and just getting this starting to come together like it really is. Like, but this open area, it gave me an idea to potentially do a third resort, because I feel like we could fit another one in there, because my other resort is actually going to be on the cliffside over here, and it's going to connect with the water park, which is going to be all of this edge over here. The water park I'm going to have pretty skinny, but it's going to go all the way back over here. And then the main part of the park is going to take the middle section here, and I'm going to leave enough room over here for a third expansion park plot of land. That's going to be the idea. And we'll go get into that as soon as we get there. So I hope you guys enjoyed, guys. I know we're still into some of the boring stuff, but just bear with me. We're going to get, once we get into the park, I know you guys are going to be very excited for this series. I think it's already been fun. I've never had this much fun building a parking lot and some resorts along with it. So anyways, a lot more to come, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe for more amazing content like this. Make sure so if you want to support us further, hit the join button or the subscribe plus button to become a member. You'll see these episodes a day early, so you guys can watch these episodes before anyone else. And that's going to about do it, guys. So have a great day and cool tomorrow. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks, and goodbye.